All right. Unfortunately, we can't wait for the chorus of that song because, yeah, I mean, we waited for this particular one for how many years now? 40 years?
Something like that.
Yeah, so now it's here and it's exciting. But the next leg of it is something that we've talked about here a few times. The Lagos State government has announced that it will temporarily shut down train services of the newly inaugurated Lagos Rail Mass Transit, the Blue Line, on Saturday, and that Saturday is today, and tomorrow, to switch from locomotive to electricity. This brief closure of the Blue Rail is also to help in transitioning of increasing the train trips from 12 to 54 on Monday, with plans to increase to 74 trips within a month. By November, actually, just so you're clear.
It's on my bucket list to ride on that train.
So, well, let's have conversations around this and get better understanding from Abimbola Akinjo, who is the Managing Director of Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport, LAMATA, joins us via the virtual platform. Thank you for joining us this morning. Well, it's the scary part. One of the scary parts of this is, first of all, it is electricity. From the southwest, so you have an idea of the fear that people will have when it comes to electricity. First of all, you want to speak to that and allay our fears?
So, good morning, and thank you very much for having me. So, with regards to our fear of electricity, I think the only solution is not to go anywhere near the tracks. LAMATA has made a number of announcements about this. The state government has made a number of announcements about this. We just need to respect the fact that the tracks are dedicated for rail operations. Nobody, under any circumstances, should cross or go on the tracks. When we do that, i.e. respect the tracks, then we don't have anything to fear. So the only thing that we as Lagosians must do is ensure that when we're crossing the rail, we use the pedestrian bridges that have been provided, ensure that under no circumstance should we run across the tracks because they will be electrified all of the time.
No, still on that, you understand the penchant that we have as a people for, you know, vandalism. Your company or your authority, your institution has been on the receiving end of that for a few times. The bus stops, for instance, you see a good number of them have been vandalized in ways that are unimaginable. And so I'm wondering, what's the plan to stave off such in the event that such things occur?
Okay, so along the corridor itself, you will notice that we have completely fenced it off. We have cameras that are looking onto the tracks and the environs. We have cameras that look into every station. As you walk into any station, you go through a body scanner, and that body scanner will sort of look to ensure that you're not carrying anything that can be dangerous. So we have plainclothes Lagos State neighborhood watch within the station, visible police presence. It's just a matter of ensuring that we have done all we can, but also appealing to the people. At the end of the day, like Mr. Governor has said, and we have continued to say, the infrastructure belongs to the people. Everybody that has gone on that ride would have enjoyed the comfort and the convenience of travel. So if you're going from Mile 2 to Lagos, on a good day on the roads will take you nothing less than 2 hours. Now, you will do that journey today in 25 minutes. And the vision is, as we continue to grow, we will make that journey no more than 20 minutes because we continue to improve. Now, in that sense, we are also saying to the people, please work with government, own this infrastructure, and ensure that nobody vandalizes it. If you see someone doing something terrible, please tell somebody. There's been a number of those sorts of incidences on the train because the train says don't drink, don't smoke, don't eat. And some people have come on the train and they've opened a can of or a bottle of something to drink. And it's the other passengers that have told them. Even before the neighborhood watch person that's on the train has turned up, somebody on the train has said to him, they've told us not to eat on this train. So it's those sorts of things that we encourage amongst our own people, because we all need to begin to take responsibility and know that infrastructure is there for us to use, not to vandalize.
Okay. I know that a lot of publicity, well, would I say a lot, has gone into educating the people about this electrification and that they should not walk along those tracks at all. But do you think that publicity was enough? Because the service went, the service started in September, I think, and this is only October, and it's already being electrified. Are you certain that there was enough publicity for those who normally find themselves walking along train tracks and all that?
Okay, I just want to correct something. The tracks have been electrified even throughout the month of September, because we've been doing testing to ensure this transition. And we have been saying that nobody should cross the tracks. And in fairness, I must say that we've had no jaywalkers, nobody crossing tracks. We've not had any sort of infractions, at least into the Blue Line corridor. So what you see on the other rail system that we're developing, the Red Line, we don't have on the Blue Line. So somewhat, and please remember that we've been doing this sensitization for a long time. We didn't start in September. We've been putting out a number of advocacy. We've gone on radio, we've come on television, we've actually been with our Sunrise as well. We've done a lot of publication, and that publication didn't start in September. We've been doing it for at least the better part of a year. So from that perspective, I think, I mean, some have even said to me, oh, Madam, electrocution, because they've heard the clip that I've made to say, if you get on it, you will be electrocuted, and that's a fact. So I believe that there's been a lot of sensitization, and a lot of people have taken that on board. And in this month that we have been operating, we've had 0 infractions as to people on the track, at least along the Blue Line.
Okay. I am quite relieved to hear that. Now, which is the next line that's going to come on board?
That would be the Red Line. The
Red Line is coming, and that'll be from where to where?
So the Red Line goes from Agbado to Marina. That's the entirety of the line. But the first phase that we're doing is going from Agbado to Oyinbo. Okay. And that's why you see a lot of sensitization is going on along that line. Mr. Governor himself has been out along the tracks, telling people to get off it. In Agege, you saw him there. In Ikeja, in Oshodi. So there's been a lot of sensitization, because we expect to start operations at the very latest, first quarter of 2024, because the infrastructure will be done by the end of this year.
You know, Madam, if you don't mind me butting in very quickly, I would say the Red Line, the way you've spoken about it, would be a lot more populated than the Blue Line. Is that a fact?
That is actually a fact, according to the studies that we have made, the origin destination studies.
So how concerning is that in your planning and execution?
So yet again, for us, we all know, we know our numbers, we know the nature of our people. Just like we did the Blue Line, we expect to continue this sensitization. Note that that line, we're sharing it with the federal government. And we have taken front line in ensuring that people are moved. Now, the trains that NRC are running, they will not be as frequent as the trains that we will run. And quite rightly so, we should take front line in sensitization. And also because this is Lagos and we are the state. So from that perspective, there's a lot of sensitization going on. That's why Mr. Governor himself came out, and he's continuing to make that advocacy, ensuring we're working with the Ministry of Environment, we're working with the Ministry of Physical Planning, Urban renewal, every agency has its hand on the red line. LAMATA is starting to go out and talk to people. We've been talking to them for over a year, this particular red line. And we're now going to continue to intensify that advocacy. Because, and one thing, when we continue to talk and when people see that the state is serious, Lagosians actually start to understand and they will move back. We've seen it happen. Before we started operations on the Blue Line was notorious. The alignment itself was notorious. People used to sell on it. They used to do all sorts of unspeakables on that line. Today, that doesn't happen. We just have to be consistent and continue to tell our people, and they will listen.
Will it also be along the electrified, to use your word?
So this particular line will not be electrified.
Okay.
This particular line will be diesel run because we're sharing the track with NRC, and NRC has not electrified its tracks.
Okay. Now, back to the Blue Line. How have the people of Lagos who ply that corridor, how have they reacted to the Blue Line? Has it been embraced? Are the coaches always full?
So what I would say is that the response has been tremendously positive. The people have taken well to it. I have had one coach do over 900. One train system do over 900. Bearing in mind, the maximum load that train can take is 1,000. And we have only started this just over a month. You are supposed to build up your ridership. What we're finding with the Blue Line is that the ridership is really rapidly increasing. Now, there was a young man that was interviewed just by, it wasn't us, it was a random. And I listened to the interview. The man said, oh, I come from Festac. And I used to take my car, and it took me 30,000 a week to fill my car and get to work. And I couldn't tell you when I would get to work. But now it costs me less than that. And I can tell my boss I will be in at this time, and I would be certain I would be in, because we have bus services that take you from Festac to Mile 2, and outside of the train station in Marina, we have bus services that go into Victoria Land. Yes. Now, there have also been interesting conversations from the people of Lagos, where some have said, oh, when I come, I expect to be able to sit down because I was the first person at the station. I just really want to explain that because this is a metro, it's a system that just is not on the basis of I've bought a ticket and so therefore because I turned up at this time. But we as a people must learn to respect one another. There's no need to rush. First of all, the journey is only 20-25 minutes. You can afford to stay. This is not a journey that's taking you 2 hours. But whatever happens, we must learn to respect ourselves when we get on the train. Well, and that will come with time when we understand that the train will always be there when it says it will be there.
Well, a good number of people.
1 month that we've run this service, we've been on time all the time.
Yeah, a good number of people would also have spoken to that and saying, look, it's metro, just as you said, and it's the same way all over the world. It's the Molue mentality a number of people always come up with. But there's also been some concern on the Blue Line, because a number of people also said, look, the distance between my bus stop and where I am going is quite some. For instance, I think some mentioned the fact that, they work at, Akpogbon, but that the bus will either stop them quite a significant distance from that bus stop, and they will still have to take another, vehicle to get to their shops, and they can't. There is no bikes on the island and all. So, have you received that kind of feedback as well?
Okay, so yes, we have. It's a continuous process for us, and the big thing that LAMATA is looking at is connectivity and intermodal connectivity. So the vision for the state is intermodal transportation. So from that perspective, we have ensured, and we're continuing to ensure, we take feedback. We ourselves had done studies We know where a lot of our passengers come from. So we have buses underneath the station that will take you to various parts of Lagos Island in particular, into Leventis, to Tinubu. Also, there's a project coming up that will be at the Marina station itself. There will be non-motorized transport systems, i.e. walkways. We as a people must learn to walk. We cannot expect a mechanized system to take you from the door of your house to the door of your office. But what we as state must do is to continue to create areas, walkways that people can walk, such that walking becomes a natural choice for us when I come off a main system. Now, when I come off the Marina system, there are buses actually in Marina that will take you into Tinubu, will take you to Leventis, and will take you to Victoria Island.
Well, that's...
So those who have issues about areas, we ask them to speak to us. When we get enough numbers, we will put buses in areas that they want. But there can never be a bus that will take you from the door of your house to the door of your office.
But madam, you must
try to get you as close as possible.
You must agree that even those who like to walk don't walk because there are no safe walkways in Lagos. Okay.
So, and that is one of the things that LAMATA is looking at. First of all, LAMATA has, we have the first non-motorized transport policy that has been passed by the House, which now says that everything we do, we must consider the pedestrian. In fact, the policy says that the pedestrian must be king on our roads as against the way we have it now. So there's a project that Lagos will be starting very soon, which will ensure that we have walkways from that marina all the way into the areas that we know. I mean, the whole of Inner Marina, there are banks, there are major offices that people will have to come from Marina to. And we're starting to implement walkways to develop the sense that it is safe to work. And obviously that also means lighting in dark times in the night, because we've gotten those feedback as well, that people have said, actually walking is not my problem. It is when I am going home at night and I want to catch your 8:30 train and it is dark.
Yeah.
It is ensuring that we have lighting along the path. So what we're finding now is that walking is not really the big issue, like you said, it is safe, being able to walk safely.
That's right.
And those are issues that we are addressing.
Okay. Well, most certainly a lot to unpack, but I think we'll just have to continually wait for the feedback to come and address them just as you have done now. This is a new thing. It's an initiative that's been decades old, but now it's here. We all have to make it work. Abimbola Akinjo, Managing Director, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA. Thank you so much for the insight and perspectives today.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So we're back in a moment to take on another one. Do stay with us.